Welcome to this episode of Inside the Gym. On this episode, we're going to be talking about trainers. Trainers are a super important, vital part of every gym. And this is going to be a two-part episode. The first part, we've got two gym owners who've got extensive experience in training and extensive experience with trainers. We've got Kyle Gabriel from True Performance in West Virginia, and we've got Blake from Unrivaled Gym in Frederick, Maryland. Both of these guys are bodybuilding competitor coaches and trainers, and both now gym owners. So they've got extensive experience on both sides of the avenue with training. So they're going to be great people to give us some insight of why training is so important and how to handle trainers and how to get great trainers for your gym. So let's get started. First, if you wouldn't mind, for people who aren't as familiar with training, would you mind, Blake, telling people why having great trainers at your gym is so important?
So we're, just real quick, we're pretty new. So it's our first year being open. Actually, our 1 year anniversary it's next week. So it's definitely been a little bit of a challenge to get really good trainers at the gym and quality trainers with good resumes and really know what they're doing. I think it's extremely important to have good trainers at your gym, and it's not easy to find. So reason being is a lot of your corporate style, and not to make this, I'm not allowed to swear on here.
Yeah.
Not to make it a shit fest on corporate gyms, but I've never been a corporate gym guy. I'm always from like small hole in the wall gyms since I was 9 years old. So I don't know any different, but a lot of times you find trainers are just kind of going through the motions. And there's not really there's like a big lack of accountability, and it usually starts with the leadership role because in corporate gyms it gets really watered down because no one really cares because it's high volume. So if you're pushing out high volumes and you're getting the numbers there, you're creating enough revenue for the gym, no one gives a shit, right? Whereas a smaller gym, a smaller business, you can really kind of set yourself apart from other people around you with how you're leading your team and then the trainers that are under you. So if you take a lot of time and make sure the quality's there for the training aspect of things, over time, people are going to know that's the place to go if you really want progress and you really want, pump out transformations and pump out performance athletes or bodybuilders or whatever it is. It's people actually caring. So it's a huge role in the gym's success. A lot of gyms don't even do that well because they don't care about their training department. And then they wonder why they're barely breaking even month to month. The training revenue is huge. So you need to have good trainers in there to create good quality transformations and results for the people in the community around you. And that way the gym it grows, you can venture into other things with it. So
did you ever think you wanted to add to that, Kyle?
No. He's spot on. Like if your trainers are not producing results, like who's going to come to you? So just having a trainer, and one thing we'd like to do separate too. I don't know if it's separate, but one thing we try to do too is I try to have trainers in different areas and different walks of life. So I have someone that specializes in rehab. I have someone that played in the NFL. So he's my sports performance explosive guy. I have a female bodybuilder. I have myself, which I don't train much anymore, but I'm like our male bodybuilder out there. I have someone that specializes in powerlifting. So just having a niche for anyone that walks through that door, if they've got a goal, like I'm looking at their intake form and deciding like, hey, where do I think you fit best? And then finding them and getting them with good trainers that are there, like that's doing what they want to do. Like that's going to keep a client longer. The payments are going to come in longer, and then the client's happier. So they're more likely to tell their friends at that point.
Yeah.
So on that line, I guess from that standpoint, it's kind of like just an extension of the reason people go to a locally owned gym is for that more personal, better service, like people who care about them and care about where they're going.
Yeah.
100%. And having good trainers kind of just is an extension of that.
Yeah.
So then now that we understand like why we want trainers, let's talk about how many trainers do we need. Like both of you guys have what I would call medium size. Like Blake's gym, Unrivaled, is definitely a bodybuilding gym. I would call it a medium-sized bodybuilding gym. Kyle's gym is kind of a hybrid gym. It's got a bit of like a fitness center vibe, but it's got some fitness center clients. It's got some bodybuilding clients, some powerlifting clients. It's got some functional fitness clients. It's a bit of a hybrid gym. So the numbers might be a little bit different, but from a like member standpoint to trainer standpoint, is there like a number that you like to have, a certain number of trainers versus a certain number of members, or how do you guys break that down? Would you mind starting with that, Kyle?
Yeah, no problem at all, man. So I gauge it more off of, I'm not looking at the numbers and saying that I need this many trainers. I don't pay attention to the numbers whatsoever. The numbers come down to, what are my trainers willing to take? Like how much did they want to work with? So if they're full-time, part-time, like if they tell me they're full, if all of my trainers are telling me they're full or they've got limited slots left, then I need to go out and get another trainer. But if it's something where like I'm not going to bring anyone on, if my trainers are like, hey dude, like I need some leads, like, or they're like, I just tell my trainers, like, we don't do any like cold calls of like, hey, you signed up today, you get a free 30-minute session. Like, we don't do any of that. We don't bug anyone. It's like, I tell my trainers, like, if you want, like, you can wear your trainer shirt, you can come hang out, hit a hard workout, like, just show who you are and like do some more posts. We'll share your post. Like, so as long as they're not like throttling me, like, hey dude, like we need to get some leads generated, like, as long as they're happy, my clients are like, they're happy, I'll bring another trainer on if I think we have room for one. But it's not really, I'm looking at the membership number to trainer ratio and kind of balancing that.
How about for your gym, Blake?
It sounds like we have a lot in common, Kyle.
Yeah.
We're still in that process right now. I don't count numbers either. I'm very old school in my approaches. I'm not like a data analytics guy. Mark's more of that guy, which is good because we kind of complement one another in those things. But like he lets me handle the training department kind of thing. I don't have like a spreadsheet of like, oh, here we are with numbers and ratios. I pretty much treat it exactly like Kyle does. Where I'm at personally now in the training department things is we need more trainers, but I need more people that are diversified like Kyle has, right? So we are switching, we're expanding the gym here. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that now, but whatever. And we're putting, Mark's going to kill me now. And we're pushing into a new space, and it's a decent amount. It's going to be a lot more functional fitness. I come from a powerlifting background. Some people don't. Oh, what was that?
That's magical.
That was awesome. I come from a powerlifting background, so it's really important for me to have a decent section of like specialty bars, platforms, and all that stuff. So, yep. And honestly, we don't have anyone here that specializes in powerlifting yet. We're going to need that, so as long as we're fitting the needs of the members that's in the gym, like if I have a bunch of inquiries coming in and I don't have anywhere to send them, that's a problem. Yeah. And sometimes I'm running into that now because again, we're only 1 year in, and we have I'd say we have like 7 or 8 trainers right now, right? Only 2 of them are like career trainers, right? So the rest of them have like full-time jobs. So it's like, well, they need to balance it out. And as long as I'm trying to help them, I try to kind of spread the wealth, so to speak, but make sure that the client is getting the person they fit with and the person they jive with. Have a consultation with them. I've had people have consultations with our trainers, and they might be like, hey, I really like them, but I don't know if it's a good fit. I'm like, that's fine. Why don't we try this person? And, it's got to fit for the person. It's not just,
right.
Again, that volume approach that your corporate gyms rely on. Kyle doesn't rely on that, and neither do I, because that's not what our gyms are about. So I don't have a specific number, but yeah.
Because I'm assuming that at corporate gyms, that's probably how it works.
Oh God, it's awful.
It's awful. Yeah. I don't know about Kyle, but we've had a couple of people interview with us, and right down to their splits are terrible. Like we're contract. I don't know how you guys are. They're contracted, so they can kind of do like whatever they want. Honestly, I mean, we have our basic ground rules, but like I'm not like, hey, we need your quota for the the week or whatever. I don't. Yeah. They can do whatever they want. They should be able to utilize our platform for their success and be able to market themselves through our gym. And that's how, success kind of bounces off one another. So if you have good trainers and they're doing their thing and they're marketing themselves and they're getting more people, it's making the gym better. And then we have to be, getting new equipment in, expanding, making sure we're leveling up the gym and not just leaving it some stagnant thing that never changes. So it's kind of like a tit for tat. It feeds one another. So, yeah.
Since you touched on that, why don't we go in that direction next? You mentioned your trainers are contractors. Like, How does that work, and what does that mean for somebody who's not as familiar with that sort of thing?
Yeah, so it's like 1099. So basically, they're not an employee of the gym; they're their own boss, so to speak, right? So they're using the gym as a space to train their clients. They're responsible for their own liability. We have liability forms on our end too, so it's kind of like double covered. But from their standpoint, they kind of have full reign to like dictate their own hours, select who they want to train. They can kind of have free reign to do whatever they want, as long as they're fine. Following some of our basic gym rules that we have, obviously. They got to fit within. Even though they're contract trainers, Mark and I are heavily into making a team that can help one another, right? So like if one trainer, let's say we have a trainer that like specializes in performance stuff, and then because I don't specialize, I shouldn't say I specialize in everything, but like I have a wide array of things that I've done over the years. So a lot of times people will come to me and be like, hey, can you sit down for 5-10 minutes and like, I'm having an issue with this. Yep, let's go over it. And then vice versa, other trainers can do that too. So you need to work as a team because that's going to help. Again, if everybody's winning, that's a good thing, right? If you have one trainer that's badass and everyone else is kind of like, what the fuck? And it creates this like animosity and stress and tension between, and it happens all the time in gyms. I used to work at another gym, I won't mention, but like a lot of gossip and bullshit. And it's like, I'm a no drama guy, man. If there's any drama, I'm like, get that out of here. I'm not dealing with that shit. Like, we're all going to know, we're all going to be on the same page. So, yeah, I mean, so realistically, back to your question, they're 1099, they can kind of do what they want. We have a split, obviously. It works in their favor, so it's incentivized. The more clients they bring in and more revenue for the gym, the lower that we will take from them as a trainer. We try to make it work to their advantage, not our advantage, right? Obviously, we need something back because that's business and that's the way it's done, right? You got to keep the lights on and all that, but getting new equipment, all those things, it takes money to do that. So there is a split, but it's working in favor to the trainer, not for the gym. So
now, do you guys decide the training rate, or does each trainer decide their own training rate?
Nope, they can decide their rate. Obviously, it can't be like outlandish. And I've had some trainers like, I'm going to charge $40 an hour, and I'm like, no, you're not. Because you're not going to get anything, that's not good. Like, and it's also like, what's your worth? If you're $40 an hour, I mean, maybe some people are, and I don't want to offend anybody, but like, if you're $40 an hour in 2024, what expertise do you have?
Yeah. Like, what are you really offering the client?
Yeah, I mean, it's quality. If you're confident and you know what you're doing, you're worth more than $40.
Well, it's like it's same thing with if you're paying $20 for a gym membership, what are you really getting?
Exactly.
Probably it's. I'm assuming it flows right across the realm.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you guys work that side of things as far as your trainers go and compensation? And
we're pretty much the exact same, man. We're 1099. My trainers can do what they want when they come in the door. If I'm interviewing and intaking a new trainer, I am educating them as well, because we're not it's at a 1099. You're not getting taxes taken out of your account. So what I try to educate them on the way in is, hey, form your own business. Like I had Forked Up Nutrition, like form your own business. I encourage them all. I kind of help them with that process of creating their own business, explaining to them some of like the tricks and tips that they can do, like with their gym equipment and stuff like that. But we let them like build their own brand. So they don't need to come in this building and wear a TPF shirt. But like he said, we're all a team. So like I would every now and then, if I had a client where I couldn't figure out a rehab situation, I have Brittany that specializes in rehab. So she would take that client for a couple sessions. And if she completed rehab with someone else, she might be like, hey, look, like I have more people that need rehab. Do you mind sliding off to this trainer, and another trainer will pick that person up? So like we all work as a team, but like I know Brittany like makes her own hats. I have another kid that like makes his own t-shirts. So his clients can buy t-shirts, they can buy hats, and we don't like take any money out of that. Like I encourage them to build their own brand. But they are 1099, and the split, our split is a flat split. It doesn't change. It's just an always flat split. And it's, of course, it's in their favor as well. And then we do make up our rates. So they do fall under our rate card. That's kind of the only differences that I would have from them.
Okay. So then you guys seem to both kind of be on the same page as far as how you work compensation. You've both been trainers, I'm assuming, at multiple different locations before you became gym owners, and you've both been around the industry for a long time. what is it about this setup, if you don't mind, that you felt like was the best situation for the gym and for the trainers? Would you mind talking a little bit about that, Blake?
Yeah. So you mean like
why is this the way you decided to compensate your trainers
right?
versus
So the biggest thing I
multiple
think
other
is,
different ways?
yeah, I think the biggest thing is they need to be happy, right? So they have to. The gym has to be a resource for them to utilize that they can say, hey, I like coming to work every day. I like the way this split works. It's working in their favor, so they feel like they're working hard and getting something back for it, or they're getting it's even, right? It needs to be fair. It needs to be even. Again, I guess I'm just going to trash corporate gyms all the time, so whatever. But no, I mean, like some of these trainers come to us to interview, and they're like, well, I'm at such and such gym, and this is the split they take, 70, 30, you know. And I'm like, oh, like you get 70? I'm like, that's pretty good. And they're like, no, I get 30. And I'm like, how do you have a living? Like, how do you pay your bills? That's ridiculous.
How many hours do you have to work a day?
Yeah, you have to train like 10 people a day. 10 hours more. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that they get away with it because it's usually young trainers that, unfortunately, like everybody starts somewhere, right? Kyle started somewhere, so did I. We're not better than anybody else. We put our pants on the same way. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of experience behind that, right? And that's what people are paying for, the experience, the time that we've perfected our craft and continue to learn, continue to educate. So, I think, well, at the end of the day, you need to make sure your trainers are happy. Kyle does a good job. Like he lets them brand themselves. Like that's awesome. That's what every trainer should be doing. That they should be able to be in your gym, marketing themselves, making themselves better, and they can't feel like the gym is robbing them of their success, right? So I felt like the way that Mark and I structured it works in their favor, and it's like the harder they work, the better off they are, and that's how I've always done things. Like I'm just going to work my ass off until it works. So
did you want to add anything to that, Kyle?
No, I mean, like I said, we're just so similar that like that's pretty much exactly how we operate. Is just if the trainer is not happy, you're not going to produce anything further. Like if the trainer's not happy, it's going to translate into the clients. Like if I'm forcing my trainers to do these 30-minute intake sessions because someone signed up for the gym, like same with you guys, like we're getting a good portion of our population is a serious like gym community. They don't need most of them don't need a personal training session.
Exactly.
So like if I have my trainers like circling their tail and calling like a bodybuilder that like placed first and he's gunning for his national, like his pro card, like he's going to be pissed off that he just got called for a 30-minute fluff training session. So we don't force like the sales or anything. Like that's like taking the pressure off of that alone, like not having them have to work for sales. Like we have an intake form. They fill out the intake form. I review the intake form with all the questions we have on there. And I decide like, hey, I think this goes here. But I also am, in the back of my mind, I'm also keeping contact of like, this person lost a couple clients recently, whether they just moved on or whatever it may be. Like I know this person's really hurting for clients. I need to keep them happy. So I'm distributing clients where I think they fit best, but also I'm trying to help my trainers as well because I don't want them to feel hey, dude, I haven't gotten leads in 3 months. All right, man, I understand that's rough. Like, so I am trying to feed off of that basis as well. So just keeping your trainers happy.
Just to add to that too, like if it matters, like we're in this, I'm going to sound real old right now, and I don't care. It's 2024, right? Like hard work is people that want to work hard is hard to come by.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works out with people and sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, yes, we will help market with people, but there is like a threshold. Like if I'm helping and then nothing's really being generated, well, that's on them. I mean, because at the end of the day, Kyle doesn't need to be helping all of his trainers out. They're 1090. I've been to gyms where they're like, yeah, your contract, whatever, dude, do what you want. And they don't do anything for them, right? But I've also seen in that same scenario where like the gym doesn't do anything for that person, but man, they crush it because they get out there and they grind and they mark themselves. They take a bunch of videos. Like I'm not a big fan of social media, man. It sucks. But like, guess what? It's a marketing tool and I got to use it. Right? Mm-hmm. How else are you going to get yourself out there and people to know who you are? Take videos, get out there, talk. People are going to put a face to the name and understand like, oh wow, I can really resonate with what this person's talking about. If the trainer's not doing anything to help promote themselves, then that's a little bit of an issue too. So it's finding a balance with all of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming that you guys, that's a big retention thing for you guys, is to make sure from a compensation standpoint, do you guys do other things from a retention standpoint to make sure that your trainers are happy and that you're keeping the ones you want to keep? And
Got it. You can go.
We don't do anything really special. Like I said, we bring them on board. I'm here for support the entire time. Like if they ever have questions, whether it be business related or training related, or, hey, how do I do X, Y, Z? Like I am here for them to be there, like support. If they have any problems. But as far as like giving extra incentives or anything like that, we don't have any sort of like anything like that. I just encourage all my trainers, and I try to keep an open book so that they know that if they need to talk to someone, like I am always here. My door is right there. Just knock on my door and we can sit down. We have a talk if there's something going wrong or something that you're not happy with. I just try to have an open door policy.
but I think even just encouraging them to build their own brand, that
Yeah.
probably helps in the retention, because you want them to be.
I want them to thrive. Like I want
them
them to, like most of my trainers are at this point, not all of them, but the ones that do nutrition and stuff like that, they're coaches. Like I have zero issue, and we don't do anything with it. Like whether that's right or wrong, like if I feed them a client, they're working with the client. Now they can't take that client and be like, I'm going to train you from home. But if that client's like, hey dude, I really need some help with nutrition. I want to lose weight, like, or I want to put on muscle, whatever that goal may be. Like I let my trainers, like they all have their own coaching rates of like their online coaching with check-ins and stuff. So, but that also is helping us get transformation. So, like we did over like January, we did like a transformation blitz where all of my trainers competed against each other. I think myself I was included as well, where we did a transformation challenge. I think it was a 10-week transformation challenge where we had people sign up to do nutrition. Some of them signed up for in-person training. Some of them just did nutrition. And we actually had a lot of success with that. And our trainers generated a bunch of transformation photos. And we had a lot of happy clients. So, just things like that to help my trainers. That's kind of what we do.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. Yeah.
If you haven't done one, man, it was great.
How many trainers do you have that are like full-time, like career trainers? Like that's their job?
I have 3 that are full-time.
Okay.
Yeah. We're right about you. We have 9 total.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't gotten a chance, man, definitely that nutrition blitz come in January. Like I think we started it like second week of January to give people like time to sign up. Right. But like we just had, and that one did funnel through the gym. That wasn't just privatized. Like we did funnel that. It was a flat rate through the gym, but we made it affordable enough that everyone, if they wanted to join, could join. Right. And they didn't have to do in-person training, but if they did, it was a bundle. Like we had bundles set up, and then we just made sure they took pictures along the way, and then we posted the winners. It was kind of like how Golds does their like fit in 90 or fit in 30 days, whatever it is. Right. But we just did it, and then we had it was like gift cards. Like we have a supplement shop. I don't know if you guys have like a supplement shop.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Mark has one here.
Yeah. So we just did like gift cards to the pro shop for like the winners.
Nice. That's awesome.
And while we don't recommend apparently at this point any kind of like a 30-minute free training session, which all the corporate gyms have, you obviously do recommend like pulling your trainers together and doing challenges so that you can get like success stories and things like that you can promote on social media to get people to want to do training and want to come to your gym, and give your trainer success stories that they can promote on their social media.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, do you guys, Kyle, you guys obviously, you mentioned you encourage your trainers to have their own brand and to be their own business. Do you guys do anything to help them with that besides just like you give them advice about how to handle business from things that you've come across? Do you guys help them with social media? Or I know it's kind of normally outside of the realm of a gym. I just wondered, most of your trainers do that kind of thing.
No, I mean, we'll certainly share anything that they tag us in. We will certainly share and make sure that they can use our platform, whoever follows us, and use our members. So sharing that content, as far as like helping put them together, I'm terrible with social media, so they don't want my help anyway. my trainers are way better at, like, they put some like really cool, my one powerlifter, he puts together a video like every day reviewing products and doing different things and lifting. They're way better at social media than I ever am.
So then, Blake, have you guys done any kind of challenges like that yet? I know you guys have just been here for a year, but
No, we haven't done any type of challenges yet. And I think there's so many avenues that we're still building upon right now. Like there's so many different things. Like we need to do this, we need this, right? It's just a long grocery list of stuff. And like honestly, with that training, the training department on our end needs to be more. It needs to be boosted up a little bit more. I think people in Frederick are still like, there's a lot of people who don't even know we're here yet. So, right, we're still like pushing to get our name out. So, I mean, we're still like growing like very well month to month. So, which is good because there's like people are like, yeah, I drive by, just keep wanting to stop in and didn't. So, we haven't had any challenges yet, but like that's a great idea. I just think I hate to go back to this, but like not sound negative, but I just people have to want to get after it though. If you have this thing and you're like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to present this. I get sidetracked. I have my own. Well, it's not my own. I work under Team Loud with Derek Natcher. So I've been doing that for a while. So I have my own coaching platform. It's not Unraveled Iron Gym. So I think a lot of people end up coming to me. They're like my waiting list is like, and I'm like, hey, how about you go over there? And they're like, no, I want you. And I'm like, yeah, well, nope. So I'm trying to like feed other people to other trainers, but then those trainers have to step up and be like, got it, yep, on it. Like that's what Derek did with me. Derek was like, here, make this happen, got it, boom, contact, and you grind and you create the relationship. You either want it or you don't. You know what I mean? So
right.
Kyle has a good group of trainers there where they're really taking people on and willing to it's a good healthy competition with like the transportation. That's awesome, dude. That's great.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Like I enjoyed it. I was involved in it. And it was a really cool thing. And one of the other things we do for him, and this was one of my trainers completely pitched this idea. It was hers. I let her fly with it. She wanted to do a women's, she's done like 4 or 5 of them now, like a free women's weight training clinic. Nice. She sets aside a Saturday and a Sunday. She does an upper and a lower day. Yeah. So she does it right back to back and it's free to join. The amount of clients that the ladies, like 3 of my female trainers ended up teaching that. And the amount of like, they each pulled several clients just teaching the women like how to use machines. If they wanted to just learn how to use the machines and walk, they could learn to use the machines and walk.
That's
but
awesome.
a good chunk of them ended up signing up for training because my trainers explained everything. They were very nice, very friendly. It was a lot of fun. And they were like, let's keep doing this. So and I let them create, if they want to create a class, like you come to me, you tell me exactly what class you want to create, what clinic you want to do. You tell me how you want me to make the flyer. We'll make the flyer and we'll put it on our page. So, and then just tell me how much you want to charge. We'll discuss it, make sure it's fair for everyone. And we'll come up with a system and we'll make it work for you.
Yeah, it's perfect. We have something similar to that. It's called Body Goals. It's a female group fitness class. It's led by Coach Rue and Coach Heidi, and they do a very good job.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's like getting women because it's more of like an iron gym and like.
Yep.
But honestly, man, we have a lot more just like general population than we do like hardcore bodybuilders. Because I think people are realizing like, oh wait, like this is just a good environment where everyone gets after it. It doesn't matter where you're from, So I think that's spreading across the community in a good way, and they do a really good job at bringing a ton of women in. They have like Sunday morning classes and they have classes during the week, and they just get women super comfortable. 40, 50, 30-year-old moms comfortable with equipment and comfortable in the gym. Yeah.
And awesome. those are your good trainers, the ones that want to go out and do those sort of things.
They have get out and get after it.
Yeah.
Present. My door's open too. My door is wide. I'm like, hey, does anyone want to come in? Let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's awesome you mentioned that because that's what I've seen over the last like a couple hundred gyms is that people are realizing that gyms like the ones you guys run are such better places to work out at that you're going to get a lot more general fitness kind of people, not just bodybuilding people at a bodybuilding gym.
Yeah.
So it's good that you offer like a multi-range of trainers and levels and people like that to fit all the needs of all the clients you're going to have coming in. Because in 2024, you're going to get a wide range of people at every type of gym there is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen general fitness people at like hardcore powerlifting gyms because they like that vibe. They're never going to compete, but they like that vibe. So
exactly. There's a lot of people like that. I'm more of I love training performance athletes. Love it. I mean, I have a large background in that was, many years ago, but like I'm sharpening those skills again because I just really love to do that. And I love training bodybuilders too. But like, if you're only training bodybuilders for a long time, I'm sure Kyle get burnt out, man. Like they're a lot to deal with. I love all my bodybuilders. I love it. They're all going to yell at me now, but you know, all the competitors I have, they're great, but you know, it's tough. It's bodybuilding, and that like the personality that fits bodybuilding is tough. It's sometimes great just to get athletes in here, like, hey, I need to do this and this with my performance to be better on the field. Let's get after it. I'm like, yep, let's do it. So, nice. And even just having general population people here, like that just want to get out. They see other people, and everyone's encouraging each other. Mark and I, that's like what we wanted from the get-go. Because everyone saw us as like this, oh, it's a bodybuilding gym, it's an iron gym. I'm like, nah, man, like anyone can come here. Just get after it, have fun, and get better. And then encourage each other. And honestly, it's pretty crazy. It's really, it has actually like turned into that. And we're like super pumped that that's what we have going. And we're really trying to keep that going in the right direction. So
that's awesome. Yeah, you both have such very inviting gyms. But so now that we've talked a lot about like keep your trainers happy, how do we get trainers? Like if you both mentioned that you could use more trainers, like how as a gym owner who needs more trainers, like what's the best avenues to go out and find those trainers?
You just poach them from all the other gyms. Go ahead, Kyle.
I've honestly, and I think it's just due to the area that I'm in. Like, I'm sure Frederick's just a little bit busier than we are, but we're flying solo, man. There isn't anyone with a 10-foot pole that can touch us. Yeah. We're surrounded by corporate gyms. So we kind of created this, like, at least this is my only theory, is that we've just created this like natural beacon where my trainers are taken care of here. So word gets out that, hey, these guys take care of us. And I'm competing with corporate gyms, which isn't hard. So I get good amount of training inquiries. Like I think I have like 2 sitting where they're like, hey, dude, if something ever opens up, please like call me. And I just have to tell them like, look, I need to keep my people that I have now happy so that I can bring more people on. And until they're full, I won't bring another trainer on, even if they have a great skill set where I'm like, I really want that skill set. If my trainers are not happy and they're not full, then I'm not bringing someone on no matter their skill set. But that's like, I think we just get a lot of like referrals and word of mouth. And I think once I ever had to post for like a social media post for a trainer, which didn't even amount to anything. And another one like ended up down the road stumbling in my lap. So most of the trainers come to us at this point. But like I said, I'm shooting fish in a barrel because there's no one around me.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, didn't Jesse do your graphics?
Yeah, he also painted what's behind me too.
I still want to like, dude, that's got to be Jesse. And I think
that's Jesse.
He was coming from your gym to do something small for ours, but Jesse's great.
Oh yeah.
He was telling me a little bit about your gym. Do you guys have like your garage doors are all painted and stuff?
Yeah, we have 7 total garage doors, and he's painted the inside, and then the whole side of the building is tin. He painted the one that faces the road with like the Greek gods.
Yeah, he showed me some of that. I was like, dude, that gym is badass. I'm gonna have to come out and check it out sometime, man. It's badass.
I have to come the other direction.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. More than welcome. Like, you guys did a good job though. Like you said, like you don't have anyone out there, and now you've created this spot. Like, even if other gyms come along, like, not to sound like an asshole, but like, good luck.
Yeah, we're already built up, and we're full steam ahead. So. Like I said, you guys probably have a little bit more competition about you're a busier city. Yeah. We're small time. So, you guys probably have a lot more competition around you, which, if trainers aren't like funneling in yet, and you guys are brand new, we're 3 years deep. So that would be that difference there is like, we started when we were just a year in. I think I was handling 30 to 35 clients on my own. I might've had one other trainer at that point in time. Yeah. And it just kind of started to steamroll. From there.
That's what I'm doing now. Like I'm the director of personal training here, and I'm like clocking like 25 hours of in-person training, and I'm like, dude, this isn't even my full-time job. My wife's like, dude, you gotta stop taking people, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say no, man. Like it's hard. It's tough because like online coaching is where all my that's my career, I guess you want to call it. Like, other than being a gym owner. Yeah, exactly. So like when you have like 80 some online clients and then you're taking 25 hours of a week of in-person training, you're like, oh,
you're busy.
Yeah, I'm burning at both ends, man. I'm like, oh shit. Like, so it's definitely more competition because we have a lot of like more corporate gyms. We have Crunch opening up on like 40. Honestly, Mark and I do a very good job, and I'm sure other people in the area they talk and whatever. Like, we literally, and this is no offense, we don't think we're better than anybody else. We just don't care. I don't like when people are like, "Oh, did you hear there's a turf war?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I don't like give a shit. Like, I don't really care what this corporate gym's doing. I don't care what this small gym's doing. We just stay in our own lane, make sure everyone here is taken care of, make sure their employees are happy, make sure the members are happy. That's it. And just stick to your guns and do your own thing. That's what makes you thrive. If you're too worried about what everyone else is doing, you get lost in the weeds, man. Right? And you obviously know that you're very successful. So it's going to take some more time, but I guess the plug's like, hey, we're hiring trainers with.
Blake, do you have a philosophy or a game plan for going out and getting those trainers that you want to make sure that they're the ones that are going to fit in with Unrivaled?
I think that maybe this is very arrogant, but like, as long as we keep building this gym the way we want it to and keep doing the things we need to do, it's obviously it's going the right way. It's gaining a lot of success. We just need to stick our guns, and it'll attract the people that we want to attract. Mm-hmm. I'm not the guy. I'm not a used car salesman. Like if someone comes in the gym, they're like, "Hey man, I don't really like you here." I'm like, "Oh, sorry to hear that, man. Like maybe go down the road, try this gym." I'm not here to be like selling them deals and selling them all my trainers. I want trainers to be able to come here and be like, I want to train it. And we've had a good amount like interview. And unfortunately, I don't just take anybody, that's not the gym we are. And I think probably some people take offense to that because they're like, wow, like they didn't hire me. Like they think they're better than me. It's really not that. It just comes down to the resume. Like, what are you able to put on the table and show me? How good are you as a trainer? What's your experience level? So I'm sure that deters some people, especially like the younger generation. I think they come in and are like, oh man, like we tend to hire a little bit older, it seems, because it makes, I don't know, there's a lot more experience level there, and people take it a lot more serious too. If they're not taking it serious, I don't really want to hear that. That's when you get people that you see them texting while they're training people, and like, nah, man, that's not gonna fly. So. Yeah. But no, I don't have like a way to draw people in, I guess. But
now, as far as like, if you were to bring someone on, Blake, and they ended up not being a good fit, like, how do you handle that?
It's tough. You have to be the best. God, he knows this all too well. I'm sure I'll let him say it too. But it's like you got to be the bad guy. Someone's got to be the bad guy sometimes, and obviously you're not. I never try to single people out and make them feel like they're smaller than me or that they're not good enough. It's just you're either jiving and matching with all the other trainers and fitting the vibe of the gym and working hard, or you're not working hard and you're not really fitting in the mix. And it's nothing personal. And a lot of times people take things very personal. They're like, wow, like, such and such, he's an asshole or whatever. I'm not. I'm going to shoot you straight. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. Because I'm a very blunt person. I don't like to beat around the bush. It's like, come in my office, this is what's going on. And I always give people the benefit of the doubt, right? If something's not going in the right direction, bring them in and talk. Just talk it out. Like if there's any like tension or anything, but hey, or there's something going wrong, I see a trainer's not doing that well. I'd rather offer help. Hey, do you need help with something? Because it looks like you're lacking here. What can we do to make you a little bit better? Is there any questions you have for me? And let's go over some of these things. I'll make time. I don't have time, but I'll make it for you to get better and sharpen those areas so that you feel more confident, you start to take off. If you have that conversation and then things still continue to go downhill, then it's like, okay, well, it's just not working out. It's a hard conversation. And unfortunately, that's business. And if you want to be good at something, you need to work hard at it and get better at it, or you're not going to be.
Yeah. But you're open to trying to coach someone through a tough time. And,
it
sounds like you both are. So,
yep.
So, that was pretty much all of my questions. Is there anything else that either of you wanted to like say about training or about this topic that you think we missed or that we didn't cover well enough?
I think we covered most everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like we kind of covered it. Like, obviously, I'm not a trainer, so I just.
Yeah, I mean, just finding the right clients, and that's really all it boils down to, is just finding the right trainers to fit in your building. And as long as they're hardworking, as long as I'm not getting phone calls from their clients that are like, "Hey, we've missed the last 4 sessions. I keep getting late canceled." It's generally not a problem, and I have good trainers. But we have had an issue or two in the past where I'm getting phone calls like, "I haven't seen my trainer in 3 weeks." I'm like, "Got it."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I keep saying it. I don't want to be a broken record, but you can't make people work hard.
No. Nope.
Right.
Kyle didn't create his gym sitting on his ass, right? Like,
No.
he
Yeah.
busted it, put everything he had into it. Probably the same thing with his coaching. That's what I did. I literally poured my heart and poured everything into all of it. So yeah, I take offense when people don't like work hard. Honestly, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, work hard. Like,
Yeah. I didn't like, even for mine. Like, I didn't get to 275 gyms in the last 2+ years sitting here in my house.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to get out there and you got to get after it.
it's just like in bodybuilding, it's like having clients. Like, what's the secret? There's no goddamn secret. No one's going to reinvent the wheel, right? Now, there's good coaching, there's bad coaching, obviously. But if you have a decent coach and knows what they're doing, at the end of the day, it's on that person to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, I show people my 2018 to 2019 photos when I lost 70 pounds in 1 year. They're like, "How'd you do it?" I'm like, "Believe it or not, I ate right and I went to the gym." Imagine if somebody would have told me that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been 300 pounds.
Yeah, you did the things that you got uncomfortable, and you did the things you didn't want to do because you had discipline.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not about motivation. It's about dedication. You just got to get after it. But I appreciate you guys coming on. I know you're both very busy people. So thank you guys. And this is awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Kyle.
Good meeting you, buddy.
All right. For this second half of the podcast, we are going to be talking to 2 trainers. In the first half, you heard from 2 gym owners who have an extensive background in training, but I thought it'd also be valuable for you to hear from 2 trainers who have trained at several different gyms and hear some of their experiences and what has attracted them to gyms and what has caused them to leave certain gyms. So this part, you guys will probably recognize John Garner. He's done a couple episodes with us. And we have our new friend, Barbara Morales, who is a trainer down in the Atlanta area. Barbara's also been a competitive powerlifter, and she's been on stage in bodybuilding competitions. So she's had a lot of experience on a lot of different areas of the industry. So she's going to give us some really good insight. So to start with, I thought we started with the positive. No reason to start out with a negative. From an atmosphere standpoint, what are some of the things, or from an environment standpoint, what are some of the things that have attracted you guys to specific gyms? Like, you want to start, Barbara?
Sure. Well, I feel like the biggest thing that attracts me is a gym that has core values, and a gym that really takes in consideration what the athletes have to say, and they kind of prioritize what the environment is going to look like. So for me, that's kind of what's gotten me to where I'm at now, because I enjoy being able to train and also have that that respect that that there is specific rules that you just follow, if that makes sense. Nobody harassing you, and the gym culture is a big thing for me, where it's if I'm training, I don't want anything to distract me, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can get distracting, if there's something, some underlying lack of that gym culture. That's really big for me. Environment is big.
Okay. How about for you, John?
Yeah, I'd say that's always been one, is making sure that the gym environment matches the types of clients you want to be coaching is huge. If you really want to work with powerlifters and bodybuilders, then the local boutique type fitness club isn't going to benefit. You're not going to enjoy training there. You're not going to be able to train the way you want to. So a big thing for me is always, again, that environment and gym culture. Like, we've talked on previous episodes, and like she mentioned, is having a good, solid gym culture. Work ethic, people training hard, people who respect that you're training, because there's a lot of gyms where people just come up and talk to everybody. But if you're at a real gym where people are actually training and have goals, competitions, and things like that, those people are going to understand that you're training a client, and they're not going to bother you as much during this. So like she mentioned, distractions, like there's that respect of, okay, that person's with their coach right now. We're not going to come up and interrupt that. And that's something that at more serious locally owned gyms, you'll see that, versus like franchise gyms or more corporate gyms, it seems to be less respected or less understood.
Okay. Yeah. Having never been a trainer, but I know that through training and teaching graphic artists, everyone, at least from my experience, everyone kind of develops a style. Is it true as a trainer, do you kind of have a style that attracts you to specific gyms? Does that make sense? Like, I like to train this way, so I want to go to a gym that is really solid for that kind of training.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Because if you're a loud trainer, somebody who likes to, the in your face, let's go, hyped up, and it's a super quiet gym environment, you're going to feel uncomfortable training there. Or if you're a super quiet, laid back trainer and everyone's screaming, yelling, yeah, buddy, lightweight, ain't nothing but a peanut, you're going to be like, oh man, this environment sucks. Yeah. So for sure.
Does the equipment make that much difference when you're trying to pick, okay, this is a place that's really going to fit me well?
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
I'd say equipment on a personal level matters to me more than on a coaching level, because in the reality, like, there's so many different variations you can do of anything. And then I think having more variety of equipment is great, because you're able to engage a client a little better and get them a little more interested, because a lot of people get bored, shiny object syndrome. So if you have them using the same chest press variation constantly, they're going to get very annoyed and very bored very quickly. So if you're able to, like, have 4 different chest press variations across 4 different brands or something like that, you're able to create a little bit more variety over like a 12, 16-week program that allows a client to feel like they're mentally stimulated and engaged more than if it's like limited equipment. They're doing kind of the same variation of a movement consistently.
So I'm hearing like equipment's important, but you still rather have the culture and the atmosphere over the equipment.
Yeah.
Because equipment's important, but not like that's not the pinnacle of what you guys need.
Yeah, sure. I can agree. And because I work at 2 gyms right now. So there's one gym that I work at that's in Sandy Springs. And it's more of like a starter. I call it like a starter up gym, because it has like the equipment that they have. They only have like barbells and a little bit of bumper plates. And then they have like a safety bar, and they have like more like, I guess, like starter up equipment. They have some dumbbells, but they don't have machines. So like, lately we've gotten bands and stuff like that, because we want to be able to keep the client engaged, like John said. And at the same time, I've had to get creative trying to find more variety for them, to challenge them as well as they progress, because in the longer term too, there is things that you want to do to like add more. That way they're still making progress, and the progressive overload, and people do get bored. Even if like they're just starting, they're like, oh, but why am I doing the same movements? So I try to like kind of have like that basis of like maybe 4 movements, and then add in a couple of like different things, because they do get bored and they start to question the programming.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So the popular thing that, or popular or unpopular thing to talk about is always compensation. I'm assuming that you guys at different gyms have probably experienced a wide variety of compensation models. Can you talk about like a compensation model that you really liked, and maybe a compensation model that you were like, that didn't really work for me? Do you want to start, Barbara?
By compensation, do you mean like payment?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Well, I've experienced both working in like a corporate and then working in like a more like, I guess, freelance environment. whereas I've worked at LA Fitness, and I don't know if that's allowed to say.
No, you're fine.
Okay. And it was more so like an hourly pay, and it's just like a set hourly pay. You don't get anything extra from that. So for me, I prefer having kind of like the structure that I have now, where it's like I do get that, like, we basically pay the gym and then we choose how we go about our payment, if that makes sense.
Mhm. So you're renting space basically
Yeah.
and choosing your own rates.
Yeah.
So you like having the flexibility of being able to like, this is my rate.
Yeah.
And
Because
I'm assuming other trainers at the gym probably have a different rate than you.
yeah, for the most part.
Does that seem to work out okay in the gym? Do people get upset about different trainers having different rates, or do they not even know?
So it works out because like people don't really know, because it's like it's the gym culture thing. Like depending on the space, you know, with the trainers that I'm around, they, you know, we just don't, our clients don't really ask each other, you know, like it's not something that happens, where in previous experiences I have had like clients who were like talking to each other about like rates in a different gym setting, and you know, they were kind of like, oh, why is she getting charged more than I am, or like this and that. Whereas like where I'm at now, that just doesn't happen.
Okay, that's good. How have your experiences been, John?
So on what she was just saying for a moment there, I think how serious your clientele is and how serious that environment is greatly is going to depend how much they care about compensation. We've all heard about the clients who aren't very motivated, who are nickel and diming you, and then there's the client who, you charge more and they're like, all right, when do we start? And it's just the different types of people what they're looking for. So I've experienced a lot of different compensation models. I've seen the ones where gyms are like, hey, I'm not going to charge you anything. You just have to make sure that your clients have a membership at the gym. That obviously for trainers, great. I think it's a stupid idea from a business standpoint for the gym, because the gym needs to make money and they need to make money off of coaching, and coaching is a great avenue for gyms to bring in extra money. So I don't think for a gym that's great, but for a trainer, you can't get much better than that. You make 100% of everything, and all you have to do is pay for your gym membership and make sure all your clients have a gym membership. Hell yeah. So that's great for a trainer, not good for a gym. I see a lot of commission splits. I like the commission split model. I will advocate. I think some are really poor and some are better. I've seen some that are just 50-50 with no chance for improvement. I think that's an awful model. You'll see that more in the LA Fitness, Anytime Fitness, and more corporate models where it's 50-50 and there's not much room for improvement unless it's a franchise, and then they'll work with you a little bit. But private models, like, I like to see something like starting at 50-50 even is fine. And then the pay scale changes across the amount of money you're bringing in. So let's say, you're bringing in X amount of dollars per month, you're at 50-50 split. Once you break a different threshold, now you're at a 70-30. Once you break another threshold, now you're at an 80-20. And that's the highest I've seen it go. I don't normally see anything better than an 80-20 unless someone's really trying to work something out with somebody. I personally won't work at a gym for less than a 75-25. Just because I've trained off and on for so long, been training people for so long, it's just not worth it to me unless there's some other benefits package. So like, sometimes like I had a guy who he was paying me a stipend for health insurance as well, and I was working at a 65% split, but he was paying me an extra $300 something a month for my health insurance, as well as a couple other different benefit things he had working on. My whole family had a membership and access to the gym as well, so there's like some things that made it worth that different split and maintaining that. But I like the step goal because it motivates you as a trainer to get more clients. You're making more money. The more clients you get, the more money you bring into the gym, the more money you're making, not just off of that 50-50, but now you're jumping up into a better pay scale. So now it makes more sense for you to, get more clients in, and it's more motivating. Another thing I've seen, like she mentioned, is you're renting out the space. I have mixed opinions on this one. I worked at a gym in Georgia, and it was you paid $250 a month. You and anyone in your household had access to the gym under that, and then you could train whoever you wanted, do group classes, do anything. And that model, I think it was okay. It just it doesn't leave you much room for with the gym, much room for growth for the gym, and just running out that space. And it's kind of you just kind of left do your own thing, which is nice. But with both of those models, the commission and the renting out space, I like in the freelance setting, like you can set your own prices. Again, like she was saying, I don't think that's an issue. It depends on the type of client. It really does. Again, the more serious the client, they're not going to care because they're like, okay, this is John. He has this amount of certifications. He's been training for this many years. He's power lifted. He's worked with competitors. He's this experienced. Okay, him charging $300, for a session, which I mean, I don't charge $300 for a session, but I've seen people who do. We can justify that versus this person. Hey, they've been training for a year. They have no experience. They haven't. They've only trained a few clients. They just started out. Now they're charging $150 a session. Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, depending on where you're at, if you're in New York, sessions can be $200 a session. Around Virginia, I see anywhere between 60 to 120 a session. It just depends.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes tons of sense. On the first half, when I was talking to the gym owners, one of the gym owners was talking about how all of the trainers at his gym are more like independent contractors, and he encourages them all to build their own brand. Is that something that would appeal to you guys from if a gym had that sort of mindset? Barbara,
I'll let you go first.
I actually work with both, like two different types, because I'm working at two gyms. So one gym, they have their own culture. That's the one that, like the Sandy Springs one, which is kind of like a boutique. And they have their own culture. They've established it. And I'm a part of it. Whereas like at DNA, we get to do kind of build our own brand, because they're looking more for allowing us to have the privilege to accomplish our own dreams, and building our own brands, and eventually like becoming bigger. Mm-hmm. So they're really set on helping us, achieve those like higher, like bigger dreams. Whereas like at a different gym, the other gym, it's more so about like pushing their brand. Which I like both, because I learn both perspectives, and I'm also able to create my own brand at the same time.
Mm-hmm. John?
Yeah. So I think from a gym owner perspective, the smarter business decision is probably having your trainer support and build your personal brand. So if there's Iron Bodies Gym, these are Iron Bodies trainers, these are whatever, or like Elite or whatever, the trainers are going to build that brand. And I've seen some models where it's like, at the end of the day, the gym wants its clients. And if they're married to your brand as a trainer, not the gym, then when you leave, those clients follow you. They don't stay with the gym. So from a gym owner perspective, I understand that. And I think that that's probably the smarter business move as far as building your personal brand. But I also think it doesn't leave you a lot of flexibility with your trainers. And a lot of trainers won't like that. Because me personally, I want my own brand. I want to see some support and able to build like who I am and the type of people I coach. And this is my baby. And then getting that support to help build that is great. So from like a philosophy mindset attitude, I think a gym owner supporting that is great. And I think it's the right thing to do as like a human being level. I just don't know how much it supports their business model in the long run. Because at the end of the day, if people attach to my brand and I'm building a culture at a gym, when I decide, hey, I'm going to go start my own gym, now those are my clients. Those are my, my people, and they follow my brand versus being married to the, main brand.
Right. But do you think that allowing or encouraging encouraging trainers to have their own brand, do you think that would allow a gym or put a gym in a place where they could get higher level trainers or attract trainers of higher level?
I think you're going to get better trainers that way because, whether it's ego or not, everybody, especially in the fitness industry, a lot of people want to build up themselves and their brand. And I think you're going to attract better quality trainers that way because they're more committed to their businesses.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes a ton of sense. And I guess depending on the gym and the level of the gym, like if you're not, and we're not knocking fitness centers, we love fitness centers, but if you're a fitness center having competitive bodybuilding coach or trainer isn't necessarily as important as if you're in a bodybuilding gym. You need to attract bodybuilding coaches and people with experience on bodybuilding. And if you're in a powerlifting gym, you need to attract powerlifting coaches and people with experience in training powerlifters. Even if a big portion of your clientele doesn't compete, you still need to have those sort of trainers and coaches, right?
Yeah, because it's the environment you're trying to build. Because I've had clients who are in for weight loss, and they want to lose a bunch of weight, and they really also want to lift weights and train like powerlifters, and they enjoy that kind of training. There's people who hate that kind of training who are still in there to lose weight. So you can have those different models. If you're a powerlifting gym, most of those people are going to be more inclined to train like powerlifters while on their own personal fitness journey.
Mm-hmm. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the negative things. I kind of feel like it's important. I hate talking about negatives, but it's kind of important in this environment. What are some of the things that have caused you to go, you know what, this isn't working out for me. I'm going to move to a different gym. Do you want to start, Barbara?
Well, for me, it was kind of the transition, the first transition I had with like LA Fitness, where it was like the pay wasn't just, it's just not there. Like it's not as profitable for the trainer. It's more profitable for the gym, which is understanding that, their business model is built to profit. So it's like making that decision of like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do. And then I decided, to launch my own brand and start working off my own brand when I was working at Muscle City. And then after that, I had to decide, like, how am I going to do it? I'm going to have to find like a place where like I'm able to still afford like the rent, because I went through like my like business went down for a while. Right. And I was like, I have to figure out how to make it work. So then I went to DNA, and then, I talked to them about my situation, and they kind of have supported, like that kind of like, it was kind of like I call it like a dead gap in my business, where I just didn't have momentum. And when you lose momentum and then you have to get it back, it takes a long time, depending on like what you're going through. I don't have that much business experience. And so I was like, like I'm in this situation and I need like someone to work with me. Right. And so they, I talked to them, and they like, they were on board. And they've been pretty supportive, and now I've gotten my momentum back. So now I'm able to still profit out of what I'm making. And at the same time, just because the pricing at Muscle City was a little bit higher than like what I am paying right now, I was able to actually start making money again.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about for you, John?
Sorry, what was the question again?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the reasons that have caused you to leave specific gyms for another gym or for another situation?
Perfect. Yeah, I got off the compensation thing again, and my mom was thinking about that, and I was like, wait, okay. But things that caused me to leave, compensation being one, is like when there's no room for growth, right? If it's, stuck at that 50-50, there's no room to ever grow that. It's not very motivating for you to want to be there in that environment, and that's caused me to leave. Micromanagement of management, when gym owners or the people managing the gym try to, especially when you're in that freelance position, try to tell you how to train your clients and what to do, what you can't do. I'm in a situation where, okay, you can't have clients deadlifting during this time because it's too loud, and situations like that. It's like, well, go kiss my ass. Like, my clients got deadlifts on the program, we got deadlift, and things of that nature. And I think micromanagement in any business, right, is one of the things that's going to make you want to leave, because you don't have that autonomy and freedom to train how you want to train. And I was going to say there aren't good reasons sometimes to intervene, right? Because if you see someone doing something unsafe in your gym, like really unsafe, and yeah, of course you have to intervene. But I think giving people their space to breathe is important to kind of build their own coaching style and build that brand, and not, oversee that too much. I do think also as gym owner, like overseeing what your trainers are doing is important, because it's a direct reflection of who you are and your brand and what you allow. And then I would say the micromanagement, and then like the compensation when there's no room for growth, are some of the biggest ones. And then again, like when gym culture just doesn't add up to what you want to be around.
Right.
If you're wanting to be in a serious gym and the owner is somebody who lives 2 hours away. They are just a businessman and they're not passionate about the gym. They're not passionate about coaching. They're not passionate about fitness. It's just money to them. Working for people like that isn't very inspiring when you're passionate about the fitness industry. So you see that and it's like you don't even know what's going on in your own gym and you're going to, try to control all of these factors. And so that's been one too, is like it just doesn't line up personality wise when engaging with the owners and talking about things. They just have no understanding of what it's like to actually be boots on the ground in the gym. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Barbara brought up a pretty good point of like ebbs and flows of the fitness industry. Is it important to you guys as trainers on the number of trainers at a gym that you're at? Like, would you be would it be bothersome to you if a gym had what you felt like was too many trainers, or would it be bothersome to you if they didn't have enough trainers? And how do you feel about like the number of trainers at a gym? Do you want to start, Barbara?
So I've experienced both settings where it's like, LA Fitness, sometimes there's like 4 or 5 people. And then, I've experienced also like kind of like the startup at DNA where it was like there was only just me. And I think it was like 2 other people or 1 other person. And now it's like slowly incrementing. I can say that since I've worked in like a freelance and freelance gyms a little bit more than in commercial gyms. I didn't stay long enough at a commercial gym with more trainers to kind of experience the back end of that.
Right.
So it didn't really bother me because I've always been like the kind of like I go to places, but then I don't try to get too emotionally invested on what's going on around me. I just kind of focus on like doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say that like if there was any specific, like sort of incident and like there was like, because there's always like something like there's always has to be like somebody that's gonna end up, like just randomly there's like people that don't have like the same core values as you or like the same respect. If that were the occasion, then that would probably bother me. But other than that, like I haven't really experienced that working with any of the people that I've been around that have been trainers, most of them since I've been working at like the freelance gyms where we all have like a very solid purpose with what we do. I can say that all of the trainers that I've met across, my timeline, they've been on their stuff and I haven't really encountered any issues, even though like, some like, there was a point in time where, like I've experienced having a lot of trainers around me. I haven't really had that many issues with that.
Okay. John, you had experienced issues where there was too many trainers and not enough trainers?
Yeah, I would always vote personally. I'd rather be in a gym that doesn't have enough trainers than too many trainers, because too many trainers, again, like the competition pool's higher and it's going to be harder for you to, get clients. And obviously for business, that's not the best thing. And of course, just to, do your own thing and rise above and do good anyway. But, numbers are numbers and they matter. Now, too few trainers, I think hurts the gym, and I think it hurts you as a trainer because you kind of get stuck with trying to work with people who you just aren't a good fit with, which can be pretty bad for your brand. People are like, oh, well, this John guy, like it just did not work out. And then, you get a negative review off of somebody when it's just that your personalities really just did not vibe. So I think it's important to have a variety of trainers, personality types, and training styles. I don't mind multiple trainers if we're all a little bit different. I think if you've got, a bodybuilding gym and you've got, everybody is the same type of bodybuilding coach, same sort of style, then it can be problematic. But if you've got, 10 coaches who train different ways, you've got some who specialize in, powerlifting, some bodybuilding, some work really well with bikini competitors, some work better with male bodybuilders, and you have a little variety in what people specialize in, then I think it's okay, because then you're kind of creating that little niche for everybody. But I think if you're too similar, or if you go to a gym, and I'm going to a gym to train, and there's too many people who are trying to coach the same types of clients I am, that's when it becomes a problem.
Okay, that makes sense. And that was going to be my next question is, as far as like variety, would you, or do you ever, like if you're in a gym, refer a client to another trainer because they're not a good fit to you? And along with that, it's kind of two questions in one. Do you like a gym how important is it to, never mind, I'll make that a separate question. Sorry. Go ahead with John, you might. Would you refer a client to another trainer if you knew the trainers, and it's important to you to know the different styles of the trainers that you're working around?
Absolutely. I've done that before. And it's just one of those, like, either the personality is not going to work or what they're looking for, I don't like to do, right? Like, let's say someone's looking for super functional fitness type movements and stuff like that. That's like, yeah, I can coach, but I find it kind of boring. Then I'm going to refer that to somebody who loves that kind of training, who loves that kind of coaching a little bit more, or like, let's say sports specific training for like golf. You know, I don't want to work with a guy who wants to get better at golf. Personally, I'm going to refer that out.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Barbara?
Yeah, I agree. And I've also done, the same, where it's like, I've experienced also having somebody, who wanted more of like a sports functional and conditioning sort of thing. And I enjoy doing it, but at the same time, it's like I know where my niche is and I know what I'm better at and I know that I can help them. But it gets to a point where since it's not like what I'm most passionate about, I'd rather give it to somebody who will be able to give them like that full throttle result of having that lifelong, like thing with what they want in their journey. And just overall, there's certain things that, like as you never stop learning. And there's things that like some things where like before I didn't have as much knowledge with powerlifting, even though I am a powerlifter myself. I didn't know how to get somebody to progress like once they get to a certain level. So I've given clients off to others as well.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. You were mentioning, Barbara, the kind of the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
In your guys' experience, as independent contractors most of the time, or people who are building your own brands, do most gyms, or have you experienced where gyms kind of rely on you guys to get your own clients, or is it important to you that a gym has the ability to bring you a decent amount of clients?
So I've experienced both. And I can say that like there is pros and cons to it when you're the one that has to get your own clients. Which I prefer that just because I'm able to target the people I work with better. So I'm able to actually, work with like-minded, and I know who I'm going to work with, whereas like if like the gym is the one getting the clients, you get everything. So you don't know, sometimes you might not work well with the person, but like you have to make it work,
Mm-hmm.
and I've experienced that too, where it's like, sometimes the clients just didn't like me. And it was just kind of like, well, we didn't really we didn't connect well. And I was like, I'm like, okay, I have to make this work. And then eventually they go because they just, they don't get what, kind of like the experience that they wanted. And it's nothing personal. Sometimes just the personalities just don't match and they just don't feel it. And I've also experienced at the gym where I work at in Sandy Springs where that's happened. But like, since they have like a different amount of trainers and we're able to communicate more, since it's not like a commercial business setting where it's harder to talk to the, like it's a little bit harder to like, I guess, transfer people. I was able to communicate and tell them, hey, like, I think this person might need somebody different. Or like, I've had clients that wanted to start training with me, sort of thing. And like, I think they could go both ways, but having to get your own clients, I think it's a little bit different because you have to learn a lot more about like marketing strategies and kind of like how to keep your momentum going and stuff like that. So I've experienced both ends. And I can say that if you're able to work at a gym that helps you get your clients, it's good. But then you go back to kind of like, thinking about like, once you leave, then that gym might lose their clients type of thing. So it can go both ways.
Mm-hmm. How about for you, John? Like, is it important that a gym is able to bring you clients, or do you like getting your own clients?
Like you said, it's like a double-edged sword a little bit. I think, getting leads in a lot of different businesses are a little more simple than in training, right? Getting leads for training and going out and searching for leads can be a little more challenging sometimes, because it's not like someone's Googling like real estate, like I'm trying to sell my house, real estate agent, like working out, like they do, but it's not quite the same as far as like lead management. But when you work at a gym that's sending you leads and people to talk to, I think it's good if the gym has a good process for kind of qualifying those leads. Some gyms have a position, which is like a personal training manager. You see that a little bit more in commercial gyms. I've seen it in like one private gym, and I thought they did a really good job at it. But they were also a pretty large gym and had big clientele. It was a gym I visited. I didn't even train there in Phoenix, and they had a personal training manager essentially who would meet with all new members of the gym and discuss coaching options, and then pair them for their first session with a coach that best fits kind of what they're looking for in their personality. And that person has to be really good at like reading those personalities and a good people person, right? Because you're the wrong person in that position, they're not going to be good at like nurturing those leads and sending them to the right people either. Like she was saying, if you get the wrong kind of lead, it's not going to help build your brand the way you want to build it. And then you kind of get stuck with somebody, like you don't want to hurt their feelings, like, well, actually, I don't want to coach you. And then that's that position where you can refer them out. Like, I think you'd be a better fit here. But I would say it's better to definitely have leads fed to you to some degree rather than be at a gym where you just kind of completely tossed on your own. I just think that if a gym is going to be sending you leads or giving you consultations or, kind of handing you clients, there needs to be some sort of qualification process for qualifying those leads to make sure that they're a good fit for you or whatever training they're kind of sending them to. And if you're like one of a few trainers and you're just kind of getting everybody, that's still going to be better than getting nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah. And it's interesting you said that because the two gym owners we had on the first half of this podcast, they're both gym owners, but they're both have tons of experience in training and both still train, and they manage all the trainers. And I think that they do that sort of thing in their gyms. So I think that it does happen in some really good locally owned gyms. You just need a gym that has an owner that has a lot of experience in training.
Mm-hmm.
If they know the people well, it's easy for them to be like, okay, you need to talk to John, or, oh, hey, your personality and the what you're looking for, she's a girl for you. Like, you got to go talk to Barbara. But if you don't know people that well, you don't know training styles that well, and you don't understand that side of things, you're just going to be like, oh, well, yeah, of course, Susan, who just wants to learn to stand up out of a chair again, she'll be great to work with John. He's a nice guy. But it's like, okay, well, John is pulling his hair out, having her stand up and down off the chair for an hour. So, understanding that fit a little better.
Yeah. And when we talk about finding the right fit, it's also the right fit for a gym, for a trainer. And we talked about that a little bit. But I was wondering, when you guys are at a gym or you're doing your thing, have you ever been approached by another gym to come work there? And is that to come work for them? And do you find that, like, do you take that as like a positive, or do you see that as a negative, like they're trying to poach you from a different gym and that you think that that's a negative thing? Or do you feel like, oh, cool, they want me to come work for them? Like, do you want to start with that one, Barbara?
Sure. So I've experienced that, but only in a commercial gym setting. I've not experienced that where I'm at now. Mm-hmm. Just because like that, like, that I guess that underlying respect thing is there. And then like whenever I get to know like any other business, like any other gym owners, usually they won't I guess they won't cross that line if we're in like the gym setting, if that makes sense.
Right.
Whereas it's like, like if I talk to people and like I get to know them outside of the gym, I've had like, people tell me, oh, like, yeah, I have this gym, you should come work there. So I think it's a positive because they look at the quality of your work, and they're looking at you and they're saying, hey, like this person could really be successful in my setting. But it could be, I guess, like a negative thing if you're in the gym and like you're like they are actually poaching, with that. Yeah, that says a lot about like character too. So it just depends on like the situation, but it could be a positive.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, John?
So I've had people reach out through social media more than in person in those situations. We got an email like, hey, I've seen your work. I think you'd be a great fit here and that sort of thing a couple of times. But I'd say commercial gyms, when you have, I've seen people who just started their own gym, they're looking for trainers, they come in and they go to the commercial gym, they basically try to find the best trainer at the commercial gym, and it's like, hey, you should come train here. And I've got mixed feelings about it because, again, character-wise, it is a little sleazy, it's a little snaky, like going in and trying to take trainers. But at the same point, like, it feels good to be like, hey, like, I've obviously made a little bit of an impact, and they can tell that, like, what I'm doing is a better quality than what a lot of other people are doing around here, and they're trying to, get that in their gym environment. So it feels good, but it also feels a little sleazy because, it's, if someone goes into your business trying to steal your employees, it's not like a nice thing to do, right? But at the same time, that opportunity, right? Like, if you get an opportunity where, let's say, you work at an LA Fitness and some guy comes in like, hey, you're a great coach, I have this gym, I would love for you to come check it out, I'd love for you to coach here. That could be a huge opportunity for you to, like, scale your business and kind of get where you want to go. So it's like a little bit of both. I'd say it's more of a positive, especially in that situation where it's like maybe someone's trying to pull you into a better position, a better opportunity where you maybe not be in the best situation currently. But I think it can easily be looked down upon for sure.
So, but did I hear correctly that you would receive it better if they reached out to you like through social media than if they like came up to you in the gym?
Yeah, if someone comes up to me, especially while I'm coaching, I don't like people interrupting me while I'm coaching. I'm nice and, like, I'll always smile, but it's frustrating because I'm pretty ADHD. It's really hard for me to stay on topic as it is. I'll squirrel off. So somebody pulls me out of my focus, it messes with me. So if it's through social media and email, someone's like, hey, I've seen your work, I think you'd be a great fit here. I would take that better because I don't think it's being as sleazy, because it's not like they're coming up to you in someone else's business. It's just they've seen you, they want to have a conversation about it. If they send you an email, a text, phone call, through social media and want to have a conversation, I think that's a more respectable way to go about it. I mean, it's the same thing, like if you're at a gym and you see a cute girl working out, you don't come in after workout and ask her to go on a date with you.
Right.
Maybe you build more rapport and you would have had a conversation, but you don't just interrupt their workout and be like, hey, come hang out with me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's one of the things. And it's funny you mentioned that because I'm finding that a lot of like really hardcore gyms are getting a lot more ladies these days because of the respect. But that's kind of off topic. So.
They don't get bothered as much. You go to a commercial gym and you get bothered more.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought that question up is we talked about like gyms having a variety of trainers and getting trainers that have a variety of styles and a variety of specialties. And I mean, in my work experience and in my experience from the world, if you're good, you've got a job. So that's why I was wondering, like, obviously if a really good bodybuilding gym wants to hire a trainer with this sort of specialty, that person who has that sort of specialties probably already got a job. So they're probably going to have to find someone who's working at another gym or is working on their own and doing like online coaching. So you would recommend that if they want to reach out to somebody like that, they reach out to them on social media or through email or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be the better way to go about it. And if that doesn't work and they don't get back to you, then sure, be like, hey, I've tried contacting you. I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to interrupt your workout or trying to interrupt your coaching, but I want to have a conversation with you when you have some extra time. Maybe before you leave, can you grab me? We'll have a conversation, something like that, right? If that's like your only last option. But I do think doing it outside of the gym is probably a little bit better way to go about it, a little more respectful.
No, that makes a ton of sense. I didn't have any other questions. I appreciate you both coming on and spending the morning with me. Did you guys have anything else that you thought that gym owners should know or gym owners should take into consideration when it comes to like bringing on the best trainers that they can get? Did you have anything else, Barbara?
I could say that like the biggest thing that I've seen on my end with that is like when you see when there's a trainer that has a big dream, even if they're not there yet, having them believe in you, that is huge. Like having that kind of like that support system, because for myself, like I'm the only one in my family, like from like my like from my uncles, my aunts, my mom, my dad and stuff. I'm the only one who lifts, so nobody really understands that. So having like people that understand what I do and support the dream that I have is huge. And I can say that any like the gyms that I've gone to now, not from like LA Fitness, but like like not the commercial gyms, but like the private you know, like Muscle City, DNA, and the other gym that I work at called Atlanta Personal Fitness. They've all seen kind of like the vision that I have for, you know, like myself and my business. And that's been one of the biggest things that has made a bigger impact to keep me driven as a trainer, and also that support that they give. You know, like just kind of like the little things, you know, like they'll give you like a little, you know, like it's more so like when you're able to express yourself to them on like if you have any issues going on and you're supported. I think that's huge. Them actually taking action on supporting what you do, you know, offering to help with marketing, offering to just like put you out there. That also helps too, even if we're like, you know, we have that like more of an independent contractor thing. And then embracing that gym culture. That way, like respect and boundaries are always established. I love that personally, just because, you know, I would be the one to go up to somebody if they're being disrespectful to my client. So that's huge. For me, it's a lot more of like core values and just like respect, rather than the money aspect on that. And just because, once again, environment is big, and if the environment is positive and ready for growth, the trainer's also going to grow.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to gym owners out there, John?
Yeah, with what she was saying, I think having somebody who believes in you is so invaluable. Like you can't put a number on it, right? It's worth so much. And if, you know, independent contractor or not, if you've got a gym owner who's checking in with you saying, hey, I see what you're doing, good work, how can I support you, how can I help you, you're going to do great things, or just hearing that positive feedback is going to keep you motivated in the industry, because it's really easy to get in a dark place. It's really easy to get like beat down in this industry and not feel like, you know, you're going to maybe be the person you want to be. And I think having some people believe in you along the way is important, because I think a lot of people who get involved in fitness don't have that support system necessarily on their own, in their own families, like you were saying, Barbara, and, you know, in their own friend groups. They're kind of maybe the only one in it, the only one in that business maybe. And, you know, you meet people there, but if you have people who actually believe in you, and if that gym owner like checks in with you and genuinely cares, I think that's huge. And then aside from that, like as far as just, you know, hiring trainers for a gym, I think it's important for gym owners out there to check in on schedules. I've worked at gyms where it's like the trainers are all only available during the same time frames and windows. And it's like, oh, they're only available between, you know, 7 and 10 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m. and you have no other trainers available any other time. I think that's can be damaging. So I think having a variety of your trainers, whoever your trainers, making sure that they have a variety of availability, so that way, you know, every client has an opportunity to work with somebody within a certain time frame. So if you just check in when you're hiring someone, be like, hey, what hours are you available? And then making sure that you're covering a variety of hours throughout the day with the trainers that you hire is something that I would look into if I was going to be hiring trainers at a gym I owned.
That makes a ton of sense. I appreciate you both coming on and getting up early here on the morning and chatting with me for the last 45 minutes. So thank you both, and I appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll be chatting again at some point.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.